Hello everyone, and thank you for attending the webinar today. I am really looking forward to telling you a little bit more about Parks Canada's fantastic places that you will find from the Yukon to Newfoundland. So I'll start off by letting you know a little bit about myself. My name is Jennifer Burnell, and I am the Travel Trade Advisor with Parks Canada. So that means that I'm your contact with Parks Canada because I represent our agency in all international markets. You can see my contact information on the slide there, and it will also be on the last slide. So if you don't get a chance to write it down here, you can get it at the end. And I'm always happy to answer any questions that you might have. I work very closely with all of my colleagues at our parks and sites across the country, and so if you ever have any specific questions about any Parks Canada places, I'm happy to connect you with the right people. I always joke that I might not know the exact answer to your question, but I do know the right person to talk to get the answer. So now that you know who I am, what is Parks Canada? Well, as it says on your screen, Parks Canada is the world's oldest national park service in the world, something that we're very proud of. And we have a mandate to protect significant examples of Canada's nature and history. So each of our Parks Canada places was created with a specific reason in mind. In some cases, it was to protect certain kinds of wildlife, certain landscapes, or maybe to make sure that we remember some certain historical stories about Canada. Parks Canada has 47 national parks, 171 national historic sites, 4 national marine conservation areas, and included within that we have 12 of Canada's 18 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. There are more than 60 Canadian signature experiences found in our places, and Parks Canada receives more than 20 million visitors every year, so we're a pretty big agency. You can see on your screen now a map. What that means for you is that we have more than 200 places for your clients to explore from coast to coast to coast. You'll see on the screen all of our national parks are indicated in green, our national historic sites in red, and 4 little national marine conservation areas in blue. And each of the places that you see is unique. There's everything from the Rocky Mountains that everyone knows about to pristine forests, badlands and grasslands, tundra, beaches, islands, geological formations, and much, much more. So as I'm sure everyone has now heard, 2017 is a very exciting year for Canada. It is Canada's 150th birthday. And as such, we're looking forward to a really exciting year of celebrations. And one big way that we at Parks Canada are celebrating, as you've probably heard, is we are going to be offering free admission to all of our national parks, national historic sites, and national marine conservation areas, as well as free lockage on our historic canals for the whole year. So visitors will still pay for camping, equipment rental, and special programs, but they will not have to pay admission fees to visit our places. So we are very excited about this, and we have been getting 2 main questions. The first important question is, free admission, how do my clients access this? And the answer, I'm happy to tell you, is it's nice and easy. If you are a tour operator and you're going to be bringing a commercial group of visitors that will be visiting all at the same time, it'll be mostly business as usual. We do strongly recommend that you reserve your group's visit in advance, just so that we know that you're going to be coming and we can make sure to be prepared for your group. But when you arrive at the gate, you'll just be asked for your company name and the number of passengers, and you will not be charged the admission fee. So we hope that makes it nice and simple for you. For FIT clients, all of our visitors, FIT and regular Canadian visitors who don't book through a tour operator, everyone will be given a free 2017 Discovery Pass. The Discovery Pass is normally a product that visitors would pay to purchase to allow them to visit all Parks Canada places, but of course in 2017 it will be free. So we're recommending that you order passes for your clients in bulk in order to have their pass in advance of their visit, and that will just help them to save a little bit of time at the gates or upon arrival at the park or site. So you can bulk order those passes if you'd like by using the email address on the screen, tourism.tourism@pc.gc.ca. And if you don't get a chance to write that down, the information is also all available on our website, so you can find the ordering information there. And all we need to know is how many passes you will need in multiples of 10 or 25, and the address where you would like us to send the passes. And it's not a limited time offer, so if you're not quite sure how many you'll need, You can certainly order some now and then order some a little bit later on in the season if it turns out that you're getting a few more bookings to Canada than you had expected. Of course, if your clients don't have a pass when they arrive at the Parker site, they will be provided with one when they arrive. So they don't have to have the pass in advance, or if you give them a pass and they maybe forget it at home because they've got so many other things to pack, they can pick one up when they arrive. So there's no way that they can lose out. Everyone will receive a pass either in advance or when they arrive. And that brings me to question number 2. If our national parks and national historic sites will be free for the whole year, doesn't that mean that it's going to be really busy? And the answer to that question is it might be, especially at some of our more popular places. We're really expecting that a lot of visitors will be coming to some of the places that are already quite visited. And so what I'm going to do today is give you a few tips for some of Parks Canada's hidden gems. These are places that are really lovely but don't always get the same amount of attention as some of our more well-known parks. But they're still a great opportunity for your clients to get a special and unique Canadian experience. And these places are great tips both for 2017 but also for future years, as I know a lot of people have already set itineraries and made their bookings. So even if you're looking towards 2018 and beyond, they might be some new places and interesting places that you can suggest to your clients. And finally, at the end of the presentation today, I'll let you know a little bit more about how we as Parks Canada can help you to promote some of these places to your clients. So I'll start off today at Ivavik National Park. And you can see it located at number 3 right at the very top of the map on your screen. It's found in northern Yukon, and I'm sure when you're looking at that map you're thinking, that is really far north. How on earth are my clients going to get up there? And the answer to that is that Parks Canada has recently made it fairly easy by offering a new fly-in base camp package. So Ivavik National Park is home to the Inuvialuit people, and it was the first national park that was created as a result of a land claim agreement with the local Indigenous people. Its name means a place for giving birth, a nursery, in the local language Inuvialuktun, because it protects a portion of the calving grounds of the porcupine caribou herd. And last year the BBC actually went and filmed a documentary in Ivavik National Park about the caribou migration. So if you're interested in that, you can take a look and see if you can find that BBC documentary. I believe it was called The Great Migration. So because of this strong connection to both the land and animals and Indigenous people, all of the base camps are hosted by a local cultural host. So while you're there, you'll get to hear their stories, learn about the culture, and eat traditional food. And I am told that what they call Eskimo donuts are particularly addictive. In addition to the cultural aspects of the trip, Ivavik is also known as a hiker's paradise, and you can see from this picture why. On the trip, your clients will be able to take numerous hikes almost around the clock. The base camp experience takes place in June and July, and that's when the park has long hours of sunlight. And so your clients will actually get the opportunity to go hiking in the midnight sun. My colleague visited last year, and he tells me a story that when he was in the park, he would look at his watch and it would read 12 o'clock. And as he looked around and saw the sunlight, he thought it must be noon, but it was actually midnight. And he said it was one of the most special and unique experiences he's ever had in his life. We call the fly-in base camp experience the accessible Arctic because it is one of the few Arctic experiences that most people are able to do. Even older children can come on this trip, and we've had even active seniors participate. So it really is able to appeal to a broad audience. Some fitness is, of course, required because you are doing some hiking, but because the hikes are all based out of the base camp, you don't have to bring a lot of gear, and you can choose the level of difficulty and the amount of time that you want to be hiking. So you don't necessarily have to do a really long multi-day hike. You can just do short hikes around the base camp and still see some of the really gorgeous scenery. And while I'm speaking of the base camp, I can't forget to mention the level of comfort that it offers. The base camp has walled prospector tents, and they include comfortable beds, and there are also showers and flush toilets. So I think for most people, when you think about going way up to the top of the Yukon, you don't always think that you're going to have that level of comfort. So if you have clients that are looking to have a northern experience but maybe aren't quite ready to really be roughing it, this might be a really good option for them. I'll move a little bit further south now to the province of Alberta, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of national historic sites because in addition to 2017 being Canada's 150th birthday, we are also celebrating another special anniversary. It's the 100th anniversary of National Historic Sites in Canada. So as I mentioned, we are in the province of Alberta here, which is very famous for the Rocky Mountains, Banff and Jasper National Parks in particular. And I'm going to tell you about a couple of places that are not too far from either of those parks and might make an interesting add-on to a mountain park itinerary. The first place is Rocky Mountain House National Historic Site, and it's located at number 21 on your map. It's about a 2.5-hour drive from either Calgary or from Edmonton. Rocky Mountain House is set along the banks of the North Saskatchewan River, and it has about 7 kilometers of nature trails to explore. So while it is a National Historic Site, there's also a very park-like atmosphere to it. On these nature trails, you can see many different kinds of birds and animals, including bald eagles, moose, and bison, probably some of the animals that people really think of when they think of coming to Canada. I also know that some people, especially people from the UK and Europe where you have such a rich history, think that as a young country, Canada doesn't have a lot of history. But the truth is we really do. Indigenous people have called this land home for thousands of years. And Rocky Mountain House is one of the places that you can see some of this rich history and discover some of the very rich Indigenous stories. Rocky Mountain House was a former fur trading post, and so it hosted people from many different Aboriginal cultures and traditions. And they would stop at the trading post and stay for a few days and conduct their business while they were there. And Rocky Mountain House now has experiences where you can have a similar type of experience and actually stay overnight. So in this picture here, you can see an example of one of our accommodations we have at Rocky Mountain House. Visitors can choose either a teepee, which you see there, or a Métis trapper's tent. And to have a more traditional camping experience, you can actually get the Enhanced Heritage Camping Kit. That includes things like a buffalo hide to help furnish your tent, a period cooking kit, and a fire starting kit. And we have costume staff people that can help your clients test their survival skills and have the thrill of starting their own fire with flint and steel. They can try out cooking bannock and bush tea over a fire using traditional pots, pans, and utensils. All sorts of unique experiences like that. And of course, if this is not the kind of thing that would appeal to your clients, if your clients are coming to Alberta and renting an RV and visiting some of the mountain parks or other places in their RV, there are unserviced camping sites for RVs available at Rocky Mountain House. So they can still come and experience the site during the day, but also go back to the comfort of their RV at night. We'll move now to another National Historic Site in Alberta. It's called Bar-U Ranch, and it is number 22 on the map you see on your screen. If your clients are flying into the city of Calgary, and rather than going west to the Mountain National Parks, but driving down south to Waterton Lakes National Park, which you'll see number 16 on your map, right on the American border, Bar-U Ranch National Historic Site is a really great place for them to stop. It's only about 100 kilometers from Calgary, and it's right on your way. And if you do decide to go down that route and stop at Bar-U Ranch, you'll actually drive on a highway called the Cowboy Trail. So that's kind of another little selling feature for people to be able to say they drove the Cowboy Trail in Canada. Bar-U Ranch tells the story of ranching in Canada. So it really is the Canadian Wild West. And I can't think of a more iconic Western Canadian picture than a ranch with mountains in the background, like the one you see on your screen. The historic site is still very active. It maintains livestock, so your clients will be able to see cattle and horses and other animals. But in addition to the livestock, because it is in a fairly remote area, it is also home to an abundance of other wildlife, including mule deer, white-tailed deer, moose, elk, coyotes, wolves, cougars, black bears, and even grizzly bears. Visitors to the ranch can have the chance to live like a cowboy and try out some different cowboy skills. They can learn to rope a steer, saddle a horse, or make bannock and coffee on a fire. And if that's not really the kind of thing that they like to do, if they prefer to have a less involved experience, they can also take a horse-drawn wagon ride around the site and a little tour. And during that tour, they'll be able to hear about the Percheron horse breeding program that was held at Bayou Ranch National Historic Site. It was the largest breeding program of its kind in the world in the early 1900s. So if you know any horse lovers, if you have clients that are horse lovers, it might be a really good place to suggest to them. The staff who work at the ranch are really passionate about what they do. They don't just see it as a job, they really see it as a lifestyle and their passion. And so after visiting Bayou Ranch, you will really feel like you've met some real cowboys. We're going to continue on further east now to the province of Manitoba, which I have to say is very close to my heart. It's my home province. I'm from the city of Winnipeg. And Riding Mountain National Park, as I mentioned, is located in Manitoba, right in the heart of Canada. It's only about a 3-hour drive from the city of Winnipeg, so if you have clients that are visiting Winnipeg or even going up to visit Churchill to see the polar bears or the beluga whales and spending some time in Winnipeg before or after that, Riding Mountain might be a great opportunity for them to add a little extra add-on to experience a different kind of Canadian nature. Now, as you probably know, the provinces of Manitoba and Saskatchewan are called the Prairie Provinces in Canada, but I have to tell you that Riding Mountain National Park is not located in the prairie part of the Prairie Provinces. So if you're thinking that it's going to be flat and boring, that's absolutely not the case. Riding Mountain is found on the Manitoba Escarpment, which is a dramatic rise of land surrounded by the prairie I was just talking about. And because of its unique landscape, it really is one of the best places in North America to see wildlife. While they're in the park, your clients will very likely have a chance to get up close and personal with the big 5 mammals at Riding Mountain: elk, moose, wolves, bears, and the largest land mammals, the plains bison, which you see on your screen. That's because the park is home to the Lake Audi Bison Enclosure, and you can take your own wildlife safari and drive through the enclosure, keeping your eyes peeled for the big animals. It's a really, really wonderful, unique experience to do that. I've had the chance to do it myself many times, and the animals are just really spectacular to see. In addition to the wildlife, Riding Mountain also boasts some really amazing hiking experiences. You might have heard of the CN Tower located in Toronto. Well, Riding Mountain, and remember, it's located in the Prairie Provinces, has rocks that are almost as tall as the CN Tower. And you can see here on the picture on your screen the kind of views that you can get when you climb up some of these great rocks in Riding Mountain. However, if your clients prefer to stay closer to the ground and maybe closer to shore if they're real water lovers, Riding Mountain is home to a beautiful big clear lake, and that's actually its name, Clear Lake, and it does live up to its name. It's a spring-fed lake, and the water is so clear that you can look down and actually see fish swimming deep below the surface. In fact, last winter, the way the ice managed to freeze, you could walk out on the ice, and it was so clear you could actually see fish swimming in the winter, which doesn't happen every year, but when it happens, it really makes you marvel at the beauty of nature. We're going to change provinces again now and move on to Ontario, because I'd like to tell you about a spectacular new hiking trail in beautiful Puckasaw National Park. Puckasaw, you'll see, is #1 on the map, and it's located in northern Ontario, so a fair ways away from the cities of Toronto and Ottawa and other places you might be more familiar with. It's really one of the most remote-feeling national parks that you can find in southern Canada. It's located on Lake Superior, which is the world's largest freshwater lake, and it's home to rugged rocks and boreal forest, what's known as the Canadian Shield. If you have any clients that are outdoor adventurers, it's a great stop on a cross-Canada road trip. It's about halfway between Winnipeg and Toronto. Or it's a chance for them to go there and just visit a place that's really off the beaten path for some authentic adventure. If you've heard of Puckasaw National Park, it's probably because of the coastal hiking trail or the coastal paddling route. These are 2 really spectacular experiences that you can take either hiking or paddling, but sometimes they're a little bit long for some visitors. They're about a week-long experience, and so knowing that a lot of international visitors may only have 1 or 2 weeks for all of Canada, sometimes that's just a bit too much time to devote to one place. So my colleagues in the park actually created a new trail, and it's called Madabi Mikina, or Go to Shore Trail. And it's a backcountry trail that features some of the same gorgeous scenery and hiking challenges as the coastal hiking route. But because it's a little bit shorter, it can actually be done in a weekend. So it's not the kind of hike that you can do if you're not an avid hiker, but for avid hikers who just maybe don't have time to do the longer ones, it's a really great option. And when I was speaking to my colleagues to learn a little bit more about the trail, and I asked them to tell me what made it really special, what they told me is that you really feel enveloped by the spirit of the wilderness when you're out on this trail. Pakasaw is located within the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people, who are an indigenous people here in Canada. And the spiritual connection between those people and the land is a really important element of the park. If, while they're in the park, your clients would like to discover a little bit more about this, there are special programs that they can participate in. We have shorter guided day walks that explore the 7 grandfather teachings, and these are teachings that honor Indigenous spiritual law and bring back a connection to nature. There are 7 of these teachings that are rooted in 7 animals, and they offer an understanding on how we can live in harmony with the earth through respect, wisdom, honesty, bravery, love, humility, and truth. And along some of these day hikes, visitors will also discover artwork created by younger generations of Anishinaabe. So you get to hear about the old traditional stories, but also see how it's really in practice among the youth today. We'll head over to the province of Quebec now. And so far, as you've probably noticed, I've been mainly talking about summer, spring, fall experiences, but as everyone knows, Canada is very fortunate to experience all 4 seasons. It's not always summer in Canada. And many of our Parks Canada places are open year-round. So if your clients are looking for a winter getaway or they're interested in trying something new and really quintessentially Canadian by visiting in winter, they'll have the chance to try some classic Canadian experiences. And a great place to suggest to them if they're looking to do that is La Mauricie National Park. So it is number 1 on the map on your screen, and it's located about 2 hours north of the city of Montreal. La Mauricie is a year-round park, as I mentioned, and it's really quite busy year-round. It bustles with the activity of local cross-country skiers who come on a very regular basis to ski in the park. But even so, there are still plenty of peaceful corners where you can come to feel the crisp winter air, see the sun glint off the snow, and hear the crunch of that snow underneath your feet. A really Canadian experience. For clients who are very active, the park offers cross-country skiing. You can rent skis there, snowshoeing, as you can see on your screen here, fat biking, which is where you bike with really fat tires so you can go on ice and snow, or even snow tagging. And that's where you trace a pattern on a frozen lake to make a beautiful piece of art, and then you climb up the trails to look at it from above and admire your work. And this is an example of what you can do with snow tagging. It's really, really spectacular. If your clients want to truly experience the outdoors while in La Mauricie National Park, they can stay overnight in an Authentic, and that's a product that Parks Canada created a couple of years ago. It's kind of a cross between a tent and a cabin. I know you might be thinking, a tent in the winter, that's crazy, but I can tell you from personal experience, they're very comfortable. I stayed in one a few years ago, and it was truly magical. A wood-burning fireplace kept us warm all night, and we awoke in the morning to freshly fallen snow. It was just like a winter wonderland. However, if your clients are looking for even more comfort than that, there are year-round lodges both in and near the park where they can stay. And finally, we'll end our journey today at Gros Morne National Park in Newfoundland and Labrador, which is Canada's most easterly province. You've probably heard of Gros Morne before. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's designated as such because of its ancient landscape shaped by colliding continents and grinding glaciers. Gros Morne is so unique that NASA has even done Mars research in the park. So that's a pretty cool fact about that park. You can see it on the map at number 2. The fjords of Gros Morne National Park provide a really spectacular backdrop for boat tours. The Western Brook Pond boat tour is actually a Canadian signature experience offered by one of Parks Canada's partners, and you can see Western Brook Pond on your screen here. So on the tour, the boat maneuvers between massive billion-year-old cliffs. There are ponds atop these plateaus that feed waterfalls, and those waterfalls cascade off the cliffs into the lake. So in addition to having the experience of seeing the park from the water, participating in the boat tour will give your clients a chance to see the park from the land as well. It's a pleasant 45-minute hike from the parking lot to the boat dock. So along that hike, you can see a little bit more of the park's landscape. If you really want to get in and see the unique landscape of the park, you could also suggest to your clients that they might want to see the earth naked. That's what we call one of our programs that we offer, a hike through the tablelands. In the tablelands, as you can see on your screen, visitors actually have the chance to see the Earth's mantle, which is normally found deep within the crust of the Earth. It's a very rare occurrence, and it makes the Tablelands and Growthmore National Park home to one of the most spectacular and diverse landscapes in the country. So you will not see a landscape like this anywhere else in Canada. So we've just told you a little bit about some of the maybe lesser known places in Canada for your clients to discover, and maybe some of them are a little bit new to you. So if they are and you'd like to start promoting or selling these places, how can we as Parks Canada help you? Well, Parks Canada works with the travel trade in a number of ways. One way is through our Discovery Pass program. As I mentioned earlier, the Discovery Pass is a product that provides access to all of Parks Canada's places for the whole year. And while the passes are free for 2017 in honor of Canada's 150th birthday, they are normally a product that we sell. However, if you, as a member of the travel trade, are coming to Canada and want to experience some of these places to allow you to better promote them and better sell them to your clients, we are happy to provide one to you at no cost so that you and your family or you and your colleagues are able to explore some of Parks Canada places, maybe meet with some of our staff if you'd like, take some pictures, anything that can help you to better promote our places. All you have to do is just let me know that you're interested in receiving a Discovery Pass and when you're going to be coming and where you're going to be visiting, and we'll pop one in the mail for you. And then that way when you arrive, you can just show up like any other visitor and have the pass with you, and you'll be all ready to go. However, if you prefer to visit and you'd like some additional assistance, maybe you want to set up a chance to meet with some of my colleagues, or you would like to take part in a specific experience or try out one of our accommodations, let me know and we can sometimes help arrange those things for you as well. We also support organized familiarization tours in collaboration with our partners like Destination Canada and the provinces. For example, there's the Canada Specialist Program MegaFam. Sometimes there'll be FAMs that are organized by tour operators or travel agencies, and so we're happy to help support those. And again, just get in touch with me, let me know when you're planning to come, and we're happy to help arrange that. We can arrange campsites, tours and programs, all those types of things. It is helpful though if you give us as much notice as possible, because we do get very booked up, and so while we of course absolutely want to work with you and help you out as much as we can, sometimes our campsites are just all booked up, and if that's the case, unfortunately we're not able to provide something that's fully booked. If you are able to take your FAM tour in one of the shoulder seasons, that also helps us as well, because we tend to be less booked up in those less busy seasons. We're also a great resource. As I mentioned earlier on, I don't necessarily know all of the answers to all of the questions about our more than 200 places across the country, but I'm very fortunate that we have a great staff at Parks Canada, and so if I don't know the answers, I can always put you in contact with my colleagues who work in the parks, and they are really the local experts. So if you have a very detailed question, I can make a connection so that you can get the answer from the person who knows all the information about the place you or your clients will be visiting. We can also support the travel trade through our extensive image bank. We're happy to share images for you to use in your marketing initiatives if that makes it a little easier for you. Unfortunately, our image bank is not publicly accessible right now, so if you do have a request for images, you can email the tourism.tourism@pc.gc.ca email that you see on your screen, or of course you can contact me directly, and we can send you the images that you need. And the more information that you're able to give us when you put in the request, the easier it is for us. So if you're able to say, for example, I'd like images of young people in Growthmore National Park and the Tablelands, that helps us narrow things down a little bit. We do also have some content on our website that we can share. For example, we have top 10 lists, we have stories about the history of Parks Canada place names, we have tips for visiting Parks Canada places when it's a little bit less busy, and we're happy to provide that content to you to use if you have newsletters that go out to your clients on your website, things like that. We just ask, of course, that you credit Parks Canada. And finally, as I just mentioned, our website, I wanted you to direct your attention directly to our travel trade website. It's a resource for members of the travel trade, and that's where we post any news, information, anything like that that might be of interest specifically to the travel trade. You may have checked it out before, but we did recently do a bit of a refresh, and we're going to be continuing to improve it again over the coming year. So if you've checked it out before and maybe didn't find what you need, please do check back because we're hoping to make it even more useful for you in the future. It contains a variety of information, including our admission rates for, of course, years that aren't 2017 when we will be charging admission again. It's got suggestions for places to visit and experiences to try. We have all of our visitor guides and brochures on there, so you could check that out and maybe direct your clients to those visitor guides that they can download in advance of their visit. And we've also got information about what's new on Parks Canada and even more. So as I mentioned, I encourage you to visit regularly, and if there's something that you would like to see on the website, please do let me know because my goal is to make it useful for you. So if there's something you're thinking, oh, I wish I could find that on the website, let me know and we'll see if we can get that up to make it more helpful for you. And with that, I will end the webinar today. I hope that this has maybe inspired you to consider some new places to add to your itineraries or to suggest to your clients. And I just wanted to reiterate that if you ever have any questions about anything in today's presentation or related to Parks Canada in general, or if you'd like to take advantage of some of our supports for the travel trade, please don't hesitate to contact me. Again, my contact information is up on the screen right there. And again, you can also find it on our website. If there's anyone listening to the webinar that will be attending Rendezvous Canada coming up in May of 2017, we would love to meet you. We will have a big Parks Canada booth, so please either request an appointment with us or feel free to stop by our booth to say hi. And if there is a particular topic that might be of interest for a future Parks Canada webinar, please let me know that as well, and we'd be happy to put that together and provide the information that you need through that way. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for attending the webinar, and please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions in the future. Thank you.